Commander Crix of the Voldarian elite force stalked through the captured human outpost, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Earth had fallen within days. These soft, fragile creatures had been no match for superior Voldarian technology. His troops were now securing the last pockets of resistance in this remote research facility nestled in the Siberian wilderness. Squadron Leader Thelix, report, Crix demanded, six-fingered hand adjusting his atmospheric filter. Earth's oxygen-rich air was intoxicating to Voldarian physiology. Thelix snapped to attention, the iridescent scales on her neck flaring with pride. Facility secured, Commander. 27 humans terminated. One survivor for interrogation. As ordered. Excellent. Where is this specimen? Detention Cell 3. A peculiar one. Claims to be some kind of historian studying ancient human warfare. Crix followed Thelix through the corridors littered with debris and fallen humans. The invasion had been almost disappointingly simple. Humans had proven physically inferior in every way. Slower reflexes, weaker bodies, fragile psyches. Their only advantage had been their sheer, stubborn will to survive, which had merely prolonged the inevitable. The detention cell contained a single human male, older by their standards, with silver-streaked hair and deep lines etched into his face. His name badge identified him as Dr. Laszlo Revnik, Historical Anthropology. "Stand for your superior, human," Thelix barked. The human raised his head slowly, seemingly unafraid. This was unusual. Most captured humans displayed either terror or defiance. This one showed amusement. "You find something humorous in your situation?" Crix asked, towering over the seated prisoner. "Not humorous." "Ironic," Dr. Revnik replied in a hoarse voice. "You've come at winter's beginning. Poor timing." Several Voldarian soldiers in the room chittered with laughter. Lieutenant Morda, the unit's intelligence officer, stepped forward. "Commander, we found extensive archives in this facility about human myths. This one specializes in folklore about creatures called Wendigo, Leshy, and other primitive superstitions." "Monsters in the dark," Crix mocked. "How fitting that. A species so weak would create imaginary predators." The human's eyes flickered to the window, where snow was beginning to fall heavily. "They weren't created. They were documented." This elicited more laughter from the troops. Crix gestured for silence. "You conquered quickly in summer," Revnik continued quietly. "But winter is different here. This facility was built to study something your reconnaissance missed." "And what would that be?" Crix asked, humoring this pathetic creature. "This region has an unusual history. Indigenous peoples avoided it for millennia. Early Soviet expeditions disappeared. We came to study why." Morda scrolled through a datapad. "Commander, his research records contain numerous accounts of missing persons, along with primitive drawings of humanoid creatures with antlers and elongated limbs." "Superstitious nonsense," Crix dismissed. "Perhaps," Revnik nodded slowly. "Until we captured one 3 months ago." A sudden power fluctuation darkened the room momentarily. Emergency lighting bathed everything in an eerie red glow. "Your troops destroyed the primary containment system when they bombed the East Wing," Revnik said, his calm veneer finally cracking. "The secondary containment has been failing for hours." A distant alarm began to wail. "What game is this?" Crix demanded, grabbing the human by his throat. "Not a game," Revnik whispered. "A warning. You should have waited until summer to invade this region. They hibernate in summer. In winter they hunt." A blood-curdling scream echoed from somewhere deep in the facility. "Security breach in Sector 7. A voice crackled over the comm system as emergency lights flashed. Commander Crix released the human and activated his neural link to the security network. Visual feeds from Sector 7 showed only static. Morda, take 5 soldiers and investigate, Crix ordered. Thelix, secure this prisoner and prepare for facility evacuation. You won't want to split up, Revnik warned, but the aliens ignored him. Minutes passed in tense silence. The human sat quietly, eyes closed as if in meditation. Crix paced impatiently until his comm crackled to life. Commander, Morda's voice came through, uncharacteristically shaky. We found Trooper Zelvax, or parts of him. Something tore through, his exoskeleton like it was paper. Human resistance fighters? Crix demanded. Negative. The blood trail leads into ventilation shafts too small for humans. And the pattern of dismemberment is feeding behavior. A wet, gurgling sound came through the comm, followed by screams and weapons fire. Then silence. Morda! Morda! Crix shouted into the comm. The human opened his eyes. They're called Korchai. In local dialect, we classified them as cryptid hominids, but they're something else entirely. They hunt by sound and thermal signature. Your energy weapons and heated armor make you perfect targets. As if on cue, the lights failed completely. Emergency generators hummed, but no lights returned. In the darkness, Crix could hear his soldiers' breathing quicken. Activate thermal imaging, he ordered. Negative, sir, Thelix responded. Something's interfering with our systems. A scratching sound came from the ceiling ducts, slow, deliberate, like claws on metal. They're intelligent, Revnik continued, softly. They learn quickly. They've already adapted to your presence. The ventilation grate above them crashed to the floor. Crix glimpsed something pale and gaunt dropping into their midst, impossibly tall, with limbs that bent at unnatural angles. Its head brushed the ceiling, crowned with antlers that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Weapons fire illuminated the room in strobing flashes. Crix caught glimpses of more creatures pouring through doorways and vents, skeletal, white-skinned figures moving with terrifying speed. Fall back, Crix ordered, but it was too late. 3 Voldarian soldiers disappeared into the darkness. Their screams cut horrifyingly short. Thelix managed to reach the door but froze, staring at something in the corridor beyond. There's nowhere to retreat to, she whispered. In the chaos, Crix noticed the human prisoner crawling toward an emergency kit on the wall. He retrieved something and pressed it against his neck, an injection of some kind. What are you doing? Crix demanded, backing toward the human as more of his soldiers fell. Chemical hibernation, Revnik explained, his speech already slowing. Lowers body temperature and metabolic rate, makes me invisible to them. His eyes began to close. Should have researched your enemy before invading. Crix lunged for the kit, but was yanked backward by something impossibly strong. As he was dragged into darkness, he caught a final glimpse of the human researcher slumping into artificial hibernation, the survivor who would remain untouched by the ancient predators reclaiming their territory. In the weeks that followed, the Voldarian High Command lost contact with all forces deployed to Earth's northern regions. Thermal scans showed vast areas going dark as unknown entities spread across the continent. By spring, the invasion forces had retreated from Earth completely. By summer, Dr. Laszlo Revnik awoke from hibernation in an empty facility. He made his way to the communications center and sent a single message to humanity's scattered resistance. The Korchai have awakened. The invaders are retreating. Winter is our ally now. Across the planet, humans who had hidden and survived began to emerge, whispering new stories, not myths, but documented truths about the ancient guardians of Earth that even advanced alien conquerors could not defeat. The Voldarians never returned to Earth. In their historical archives, the planet was marked with a simple warning: protected by indigenous apex predators. Approach forbidden.